That's what happens when you don't get in alignment. So basically got two problems going on here. Pushing the tires too far without changing them out because I needed new tires. Then my alignment was really bad. So those two things are what led to this. And honestly, it just came down to me wanting to drive the car and just being like, oh, it'll be fine, and it totally wasn't fine. So you can see some of the metal in here, and I mean, it's bad, But the good thing is, I gotta replace some of the suspension, and it's gonna feel, oh man, I can't wait to get the new tires. It's gonna be awesome. With the tires off and new tires on the way, it's time to get to work on the suspension. I'm gonna be putting on new springs, shocks, adjustable upper ball joints, new bump stops, a new front sway bar with new end links, and adding a rear sway bar with zero lash end links. Now, I want to remind you guys that I am super new to all of this. I have never worked on suspension before. And through these videos, we want to show you guys that if we can do it, you can do it too. If you're enjoying these videos at all, please hit that like button. And while you're down there, you might as well subscribe too. So the first thing to do is to get started on disassembly. With the caliper and brake line free, I'm hanging the caliper from the sway bar so it's not just dangling from the brake line. Then off comes the rotor and sway bar end links. Using a couple different styles of ball joint separators, I got everything loose and the knuckle removed without really any trouble at all. Now what I'm doing here is securing the spring to the frame, so as I separate everything, the spring doesn't fly out and kill me, or injure me, or hit me in the junk, because that would suck. Oh, this is scary. Yeesh. Ah. I'm using a spring compressor here just to make it a little easier to get the spring off of the A-arm. And with a little persuasion from my rubber mallet, and that's why I use the chain. In a previous video, I installed these spring spacers. I used them for about 3,000 miles, and I decided to check over the spring and the spacer to look for any damage, and they looked totally fine. Now let's replace those upper ball joints. It's pretty simple with only 2 bolts holding it in place. No ball joint press required. This new one looks so much better. And I thought I'd point out how the paddle nut goes on because I put it on backwards the first time. Now the part I've been dreading, installing the new spring. I was pretty intimidated by this because when you compress the springs, there is so much energy stored in there, it can absolutely do a lot of damage. But after some trial and error and checking out some videos online, I got it installed. Oh, not even close. Shoot, that's what I was afraid of. In the way. Yep. Dang it. I think we need to go look up some videos. So I think this is gonna be pretty sketchy, but I don't see a better way to do it. So we're gonna use the wire wrap method because the problem is there's just not enough space in there for the spring compressors. So thank you, Eric, for the spring compressors. I am using them, just not to actually install. Man, even right now I'm a little scared because these are so compressed. Problem is it's like curving the wrong way. All right, let's see if it works this time. There we go. All right, it's going. It's really close, you guys. Yeah, baby! All right, next scary part. All right, so need to cut these wires out. Once the wires were out of there, it was time to put everything back together. Well, I think it's good. Just got to torque it all down now. I'm definitely not installing those new end links without the new sway bar, right? Right? Ah, well, more work for me later. At least I did remember to grease the ball joints. Well, that might have been a little excessive. Yep. All right. This is a little trick I learned from my cousin Dan. It's great to use when you're changing brake pads so you don't have to bleed the brakes. You don't need to open the bleeder valve at all. Just grab a pair of vice grips like these ones and slowly make them tighter and tighter, and they'll compress the caliper piston without you having to open the bleeder valve. If you have 2 piston calipers like mine, you'll need a board to put over both of them so they can press at the same time. I think that might be all the way in. Okay. After getting everything put back together, I did everything again over on the passenger side. Then, of course, Dan had to come over and check everything out. So I was just showing Dan the new sway bar end links, and I was telling him, oh, they came with the new sway bar. And then it hit me. Why didn't I install the new sway bar? I think it's just 2 brackets that attach it to the frame. So it should be pretty easy to switch out. I had an itch. It should.
Great, you're perfect now. Let's do it.
It should be pretty easy to switch out, so I'm gonna get under there and see, and if that's the case, all we have to do is take off the 2 bolts for the end links, and then the probably 4 bolts that attach to the frame, and then we're G to G. Good to go. All right, so we got this bad boy right here. And I mean, of course it's red, because it just has to be. I think red parts typically add like
5 miles per hour.
I was thinking like 1 or 2 horsepower. So, I mean, this is such a big red part. I'd say this is like 5 horsepower right here. All right, that way I don't lose anything or mix it up. Get it all back together. This is the bracket holding the sway bar on.
Yeah. I don't have it anymore. You got it?
So,
Okay.
man, this thing is crusty.
Yeah.
Got it. It's so rusty and crusty. Let's get that new red one on.
Where are the actual bushings?
I don't know. Oh, hey, that might be my tires. It's my wife.
Also exciting.
Hello. So this is the new polyurethane.
Those are hefty.
You know what's weird?
Do they look like they're the right part?
Oh, that's right. Oh, they're the right part.
Well,
I mean, obviously they're way too gigantic, aren't they? Yeah. These are the polyurethane bushings for the steering rack. Oh. That's why they're so big.
So these are the right ones?
Those are the right ones that you found, Dan.
This is so many of them.
Oh.
They come as a pair. You got
I bought two.
Anybody want some front sway bar bushings?
Poly bushings can squeak like none other, so they say use more than you think, like buy extra grease. Installing the front sway bar was definitely easier with help. We had to wiggle it into place over the radiator support brackets, but after that, it was a piece of cake.
Okay. All right. I think.
Yeah, I got both mine started.
I think those will stay at least until we get this part set up. And then one of these. Sweet.
The next day, I had a few more parts arrive. So with my brother's help, I got started on installing the rear sway bar. Somewhere in this vicinity. The first thing I needed to do was install the end links, which went right into some existing holes in the lower control arms. Then, in order to get the zero lash end links to fit, I had to drill out the holes in the sway bar to a larger size with the drill bit that Rodney Dickman includes in the kit, which I think is pretty cool. So I got the sway bar hooked up to the end links. I just need to tighten up all the connections, and then we'll go down, we'll put the bushings on, mark the location where it's gonna go on the frame with the center punch, drill out the holes, and then bolt it in with these guys. So let's do it. If you're drilling metal and you're underneath the thing you're drilling, I highly recommend a long sleeve shirt because those metal shavings are hot. After getting all the holes drilled, I hit them with a little bit of fast drying paint to prevent any rust and had to wait a few minutes for them to dry. All right guys, check it out. I'm editing a photo I just took in my car because we just started an Instagram. So go check us out at BroBuilds, just like it's written on the screen here. We're gonna keep you guys updated with current projects we're working on, videos we'll be coming out with. Give us a follow, that'd be great. All right, time to torque them. All right guys, I am super stoked. I just got the tires back from the tire shop. Let's get them unloaded and put on the car and just see how everything looks. And that's it. That's all my new suspension installed, new tires, and an alignment. Now you know it has to happen. Time for a test drive. This, you guys, this is what it's all about. The new tires, shocks, springs, and sway bars really added up to an improved ride. The Fiero takes corners like the sports car it was always meant to be. The steering is tight, and with the larger tires and new shocks, the overall ride feels a lot better. Well, I'm gonna go enjoy my Fiero. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.